Let's kick things off with looking at some saturation using the Sound Toys bundle. Now we're going to be working on this track Marry Me, which is kind of a country rock style track. Let's give it a quick blast.
Hello Chicago, here we go again. Standing up in a funeral for a friend. It's all come on right back again. I know she don't want to marry him. He's not her lover, he's not a friend. He owns a factory and some land. I ain't got much, but he's got everything. Well, I know she don't want to marry him. She's stomping all the bed of roses. Forces pull her in as she opposes. Sick of living life, going through the motions. I know she don't want to marry him. Marry him.
Okay, so you get the picture. So everything sounds good, kind of in a nice place. It's got a nice warm feel to it. If anything, it maybe sounds a little bit too, I'd say, kind of lumpy almost, kind of low, mid, dense. So a lot of elements that have kind of lots of low, mid information, which are clashing slightly. So let's have a look at altering that. Now, what we're going to be looking at is a process known as saturation or overdrive distortion. Now, this is an essential mixing skill to nail. It really is. Now, we're going to apply it in this case to enable us to try and bring some of these sounds out of the mix, bring them forward a little bit and help to kind of disentangle some of the low mid areas. So let's start off with this acoustic guitar. So I'm going to load up Decapitator. Now this is Sound Toys' saturation overdrive distortion module. Now I like to use saturation a lot of the time to try and almost rebalance the sound or balance the sound in the same way as you would do EQ in a way. But this is different to EQ because we're actually adding harmonics that aren't already there. So it's very powerful and you can actually use it in conjunction with EQ to get the best of both worlds. So let's have a listen to the acoustic guitar in solo just briefly. So what I want to do is bring out some of the top of the guitar and just hold back some of the low mid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a kind of parallel saturation technique. So I'm going to bring up the drive, I'm going to bring up the low cut, and I'm going to brighten the tone, but I'm going to do this in parallel. So we're going to keep the original sound as it is, but we're going to mix in this kind of overdriven sound alongside it. Now I'm doing this in solo so we can really hear it, but what I need to do is do it in the context of the mix.
He owns a factory and some land. I ain't got much, but he's got everything. Well, I know she don't want to marry him. She's stomping all the bed of roses. Forces pull her in as she opposes. Sick of living life, going through the motions. I know she don't want to marry him.
So what you want to focus on is the way that the guitar comes out a little bit from the mix, but also it helps to push it up in the speakers. So it's pushing it away from the piano, the low mid of the vocal, the organ, also the bass. It's kind of raising it above those sounds. So kind of, you might have to shut your eyes, really focus, and you'll be able to hear it.
Marry him. church on ground. We used to be lovers, but now we're friends.
Now in solo, this acoustic guitar might have lost something. It's lost some of that low mid richness it had before, but we must have a holistic approach to mixing. So it's how each individual sound adds up to create the whole that's important, not how each sound works in isolation. Okay, let's have a look at some of the other sounds. So let's jump onto the organ sound. So my thought process is going to be a little bit similar. Going to try and just kind of free up a little bit of that low mid. I'll try a different style this time.
Life going through the motions. I know she don't wanna marry him. Full of real messy poses. Sick of living life going through the motions. I know she don't wanna marry him. Full of real messy poses. Sick of living life going through the motions. I know she don't wanna marry him. Full of real messy poses. Sick of living life going through the motions. I know she don't wanna marry him. Full of real messy poses. Sick of living life going through the motions. I know she don't wanna marry him. Full of real messy poses. Sick of living life going through the motions. I know she don't wanna marry him.
So again, I think we're freeing up a little bit of that low mid again and just slightly rebalancing the organ so it's got a little bit more information in the higher frequencies. Just trying to clear away some of the mud and disperse some of the frequencies in other areas.
Full of real messy
So again, there's a lot going on in the low mids on this slide guitar. Maybe it's interfering a little bit with the vocal in that respect. So let's again try a similar kind of technique. Okay, so let's just make sure we're doing good things. And let's just bypass all three of them and then bring them in. Okay, it's subtle, but it's definitely different, and to my ears, definitely better. We could kind of tweak this and spend a lot of time getting it exactly right, but it definitely is improving using those sounds. So we're kind of just unclogging that low mid, bringing things out a little bit and helping to create little spaces in the frequency range for different sounds. Okay, so let's go to our drum overheads. Okay, let's try and bring these out a little bit. So I'm going to go to Devil Loc Deluxe, which is kind of an extreme compressor limiter. So you can just mangle sounds with this, as you're going to hear. Let's just solo it for a second. Okay, so let's just bring this in parallel again. Okay, so I'm just trying to get that exactly right, just get it dialed in. So it's adding, some life to the drums, but not creating too much kind of sustain and too much information and those cymbals getting too squashed. So I just want it to be a kind of subtle effect. Okay, I'll leave that on. So finally, for this saturation on this track, let's have a look at the piano. So I just want to really drive home the point here. So let's get Decapitator on again. So what we can do with this, especially if we're doing it in parallel and using the low cut and high cut, we can create kind of areas of frequency density in the sound. And these are areas that we want to bring out. We've also got the tone control to make it dark or bright. So let's just solo this for a second and I'll demonstrate what I mean. So we can create kind of driven harmonics in different areas of the frequency range. And obviously when we do this in parallel, we can create little pockets of frequency density to bring the sound out in the area we want it to bring it out. So let's try something again, similar, just a little bit of a low cut and just brighten it up a little bit in parallel. Just trying to bring a bit of life to it. It's like harmonic excitation, essentially, just adding frequencies that weren't originally present to try and bring some kind of life and vibe into the sound. So I don't want it to start breaking up. Okay, so let's try this in the mix. Okay, again, just clears up a little bit of space in that low mid area. So let's just take all this processing out. Okay, so you can hear that we've added quite a lot of life to this mix. Things are jumping out a little bit more from the speakers. So that's one of the uses of saturation, to bring life to the sound, to add extra harmonics and help lift the mix and make things come out of the speakers at you. Next up, we're going to jump over to a dance track and we're going to have a look at another use of saturation to help us squeeze more level into our sounds and get more RMS out of sounds at the expense of taming the transient. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.